A flag-draped coffin came off a military plane on a Tuesday morning. A woman was standing on the runway. She had been standing there since 4 a.m. They handed her a folded flag. She held it the way you hold something that is not enough. That same Tuesday, the two largest weapons companies in America raised their profit forecasts. Their stocks jumped 10% in one morning. Their CEO called the war, his word, an opportunity. The missile that was supposed to protect her husband cost $12 million. It did not work. The company that built it received a contract to build 400 more.
This war is costing $2 billion a day. You are paying for it twice. Your taxes buy the missiles, and the war raises the price of everything you buy. Her husband is gone. Her gas costs $91. And someone is making every dollar. This is where your money goes. If someone you love has served, is serving, or is paying $4 a gallon and does not know why, stay here. This is their story.
Here is the strange part. Nobody raised the price of your groceries. No store manager made that decision. And yet, everything went up. So who did? It started with one choke point, a narrow strip of water called the Strait of Hormuz. 1/5 of the world's oil passes through it. When the war disrupted it, that oil had to find another way or stop moving entirely. And here is what most people never learned in school. Almost everything you buy moves on oil, not just your gas. The truck that brings food to your store runs on diesel. The ship that carries your medicine runs on fuel. When oil gets expensive, the cost of moving everything gets expensive. So your grocery bill did not rise because of groceries. It rose because of a war 6,000 miles away, moving up a chain most people never see, until it arrived at your kitchen table, disguised as the price of bread. That is the first thing they do not tell you. The price on the shelf is never really about the shelf. Most people feel the price and never trace the cause. You just did. Now the real question. If everyone is paying more, the money has to be going somewhere. Follow it, and it leads to a very small number of companies. The two largest weapons makers in America both told their investors the same thing this summer. This year will be better than we thought. Their orders are at record highs. Since the war began, one of their stocks has climbed 40% in 5 months. Now, a rise in stock during a war does not by itself prove anyone wanted the war. Markets move for many reasons, but listen to how they describe it in their own words.
On a call with investors, one CEO was asked about the conflict in the Middle East. He described it as his word, opportunities. Not a tragedy to endure, not a crisis to survive, an opportunity to capture. That single word tells you how the war looks from inside the building where the missiles are made. To you, it is a coffin on a runway. To them, it is a line on an earnings call. Same war, two completely different meanings, and only one of them shows up in the quarterly profits. If your family has ever wondered why everything costs more, send them this. They should see both meanings of the same war. To understand how this works,
Forget the politics. Just watch the money move. Because the path it takes is simpler and stranger than you think. When Iran fires one rocket at a base, the defense system fires 3 missiles to stop it. Each of those costs about $4 million. So in 30 seconds, $12 million is in the air. Whether it hits or misses, that money's gone, turned to smoke over a desert.
But here is the part that matters. Every missile fired has to be replaced, and the replacement is not a one-time cost. It is a contract that pays out for years. So the moment a missile is launched, it is not the end of a transaction. It is the beginning of one. The explosion you see on the news is on a spreadsheet somewhere, the first day of a revenue stream. This is the quiet truth of modern war. The weapon that is destroyed is worth more to the maker than the weapon that sits in storage, because the destroyed one has to be bought again. You are not paying for a war. You are subscribing to one. By now, you understand who profits and how. But that raises the hardest question. If a war is this expensive, this painful for ordinary people, why does it never seem to end on time? The answer is a single sentence, written by a financial analyst, printed in a financial publication, meant only for investors, not for you. They wrote that the greatest risk to a defense company's stock is peace. Read that again. Not war, not losing, not soldiers dying. The risk, the thing investors are warned to fear, is peace breaking out too soon. Think about what that means. In almost every business, the good outcome is the thing everyone wants. A hospital wants you healthy. A restaurant wants you fed. But in this one corner of the economy, the outcome everyone else on earth is praying for, an end of the war, is listed on paper as a threat to be managed. That is the reveal most people never reach. It is not that these companies are evil. It is worse than that. It is that the system is built so that peace and profit point in opposite directions. And when they do, money usually wins. Nobody has to conspire. Nobody has to want people to die. The machine does not need bad intentions. It only needs incentives. And every incentive in this system quietly rewards the war lasting one more quarter. If that sentence disturbs you, with one about peace being a risk, say so in the comments. Not from me, because saying it out loud is how it stops being normal. So if the incentives are broken, can they ever be fixed? To answer that, you have to see who holds the power to fix them. The same companies that profit from the budget also help shape it. They fund political campaigns. They hire former officials. When it is time to vote on defense spending, the people voting have often been supported by the people who get paid. This week, a defense bill worth more than $1 trillion passed. Both parties voted yes. It was not close. When both sides agree this easily on this much money, it is worth asking who benefits from the agreement. Change is possible, but it will not come from inside the machine. Machines do not choose to run slower. It comes from the one place the system cannot fully control. The people paying the bill, deciding they want to see the receipts. The woman from the runway went home with a folded flag and an empty seat at the table. Her son asks about his father at night. She tells him he was brave. She does not know about the earnings call,
She does not know about the word opportunity. She just knows that someone should be home, and he is not, and that everything costs more than it used to. Nobody connects the runway to the earnings call to the gas pump. Nobody. If you want to see the receipts nobody else will show you, subscribe. That is the whole job of this channel. Peace is the risk.